Hi everyone. It has been a little while since I posted a YouTube video, although I am collaborating with Christy on some YouTube videos on her channel. You can look her up, Conversations with Christy. She is amazing. But I felt like I wanted to hop in today. So many of the clients and people I'm talking to right now feel like their life is sort of upside down, and they're just sensing these energy changes and feeling like what worked for them before, whether it was rituals or routines or whatever, is just not working now, and they're feeling at loose ends. Whatever their normal coping strategies are, or strategies moving through life, they're not quite working the way they used to. And this is causing, understandably, people to feel a little bit off kilter, ungrounded, destabilized. And so I'm hoping that if I kind of share some of the reasons for these energies, it will help people see that this is a very specific time frame. This will this will not always be this way. You will be able to go back to your normal routines and rituals. So I have from a more detailed astrological technical perspective, I have an article on Substack that talks about this in more depth. You can look me up there. It's at Substack. It's Magic of the Moon Astrology. But for this video, I want to focus a little bit more on how people are likely experiencing this, and how we can most productively use this energy, rather than all of the planets specifically causing us to feel this way and bringing this energy. The first part is, we are right in the middle of eclipse season. We had a lunar eclipse in Pisces about a week ago, and we have on October 2nd a total solar eclipse coming in Libra. So we are right in between the two eclipses. We always get, typically we get two eclipses every 6 months. So we are right in the middle of those two eclipses for this fall. And that does lead to a time of some different perspectives. Eclipses are a time when our lights, our luminaries in the sky, the sun and the moon, are obscured. Their light is obscured. Normally they would be shining brightly. They aren't. And so typically during these eclipse times, we have this feeling of not being able to see and perceive with our eyes, with our other senses, in the ways that we usually can. And so we feel kind of bereft of our usual tools. And it's helpful to think about eclipse season as a time when it's important to tap into our intuition and our inner eye, our inner knowing, because that will be able to see regardless of the amount of physical light being shown by the luminaries, the sun and the moon. So it's important right now, rather than to kind of stay surface level and say, why isn't my routine working? Why isn't my ritual working? To instead drop down and in and look at what our heart and our soul and our gut are telling us. That is really going to be a huge path forward for all of us. The other thing is that even though, and there are some things about this eclipse period specifically that make it challenging to navigate through, but as we approach this season, this energy is really valuable and really useful. This is a time period where, if we have been stuck in a rut or kind of procrastinating on making changes we know we need to make in our lives, if we have been saying, yeah, I really need to change that, I'll worry about that next month, next year, once I get this other thing done. If we've been in that state, this is a time period to evaluate and make those changes. And the energy doesn't always support making these kinds of big changes. Sometimes it's really hard to make big changes, and a lot of the energy is sort of going with the flow and being part of the status quo. But the energy right now is shaking us loose from our ruts, from our routines, from our status quo, and that's incredibly valuable, especially for those of us who have changes in our lives we know we need to make. It's in the back of our mind that we need to make them, and we just haven't made them yet. Friends, this is the time. So as we kind of move through this eclipse season, and there's also some planetary energies for the rest of the month that are a little bit, they support this changing things up energy. They do not support the stable energy. Again, go to my Substack, Magic of the Moon Astrology, if you want more specific astrological details on what those planetary energies are. But as we navigate through this eclipse season and through this next month or two, we can either approach this energy from a place of fear and confusion and desperately trying to seek stability and anchor ourselves onto something, and then feel disappointed when there's nothing firm to really anchor onto. Or we can embrace this as a time of change. Rather than fighting the wave, we can choose to ride the wave and surf the wave. And so as we approach this time frame, I hear you, I feel you. This feels like a very destabilizing time when our normal strategies are not working. But if we can lean into that instead of leaning away, it will help us make the most out of this period, make whatever needed changes we need to make in our life. And we'll come out of this just feeling like our soul has been supercharged, and we've really been able to take some, it's almost like I can visualize this staircase, and we can see several steps up, and we know that's where we need to go, and we've just been delaying taking those steps. And again, it's like now the energy is so strong to support those steps. So, but if we don't choose to lean into that, and we decide, no, I want to push for stability, I want to find something to anchor to, it's just going to be a harder month or two, because the energy, the planetary energies just aren't there to support stability and routine and getting into kind of a comfortable rut. The energies just aren't there for that right now. So I hope this is helpful. There is, again, just some amazing opportunities to use this energy in a really positive, constructive way for all of us in our lives. But it does mean leaning into the uncertainty rather than trying to white knuckle a stability that isn't there. So just wanted to share that because I've had so many conversations with people lately who are feeling a little bit stressed or anxious about all of this, the destabilizing forces. And I want everybody to know that there is a really productive way to use this energy. And it only has to feel anxiety producing if we're pushing for stability. Thank you all so much, and sending love and light and hope and joy and excitement during this time.